My world has been turned upside down by cheating revelations. Not sure why I'm posting, maybe to vent, maybe to find comfort in others' similar experiences, and maybe to ask if I'll recover properly. I don't want this to destroy me. It's still quite fresh and I'm dealing with probably every emotion possible, but this week, I have found out that my BF has been on dating apps for pretty much the entirety of our 2-year relationship. I caught him when he went away for a weekend work meetup and sent me a screenshot which had Tinder and Bumble icons on the notification bar, obviously, but luckily for me he was dopey enough not to clear them. I flipped out and he came out with some bullshit that a recent update installed them automatically. Yeah, right. He was mostly uncontactable all weekend, drinking till 6 a.m. etc., but when I did video chat with him I knew he was deceiving me. I could tell in his eyes and body language. Anyway, he was in a bad way with extreme anxiety from the hangover, so I said I'd pick him up from the airport. I was actually worried about his safety. On the drive home he was talking about some stupid argument and drama that happened one night amongst colleagues and how he's worried about this particular female colleague. He was also saying how they had deep chats about mental health and that they had a lot in common. Fine. But something was off and I knew not all was as it appeared. We got back to his and I confronted him properly about the apps. He confessed and said it was for a confidence boost and that he needs to seek validation from other people. I knew he had self-esteem issues, but geez. I asked to see his phone and he gave it to me confidently, knowing he'd deleted messages and the apps, or so he thought. He forgotten delete Hinge, so I opened it and there were so many messages flirting, arranging dates and exchanging numbers. My whole world fell apart. I thought we had a good thing, a real connection. Again, he told me it was for validation, he just wanted to be seen, and that he never met anyone in person. I actually believe that part. Any spare time we were together. Not that that matters. Something wasn't right about this female colleague though, so I pressed him. He denied anything happened, but whenever I said her name he was agitated. I could tell he was lying. Eventually, after pretty much dragging the truth out of him, he told me she kissed him and that he didn't pull away and that in that moment he wanted it. If the apps weren't bad enough, this really floored me. This was way more real. He said he regretted it and pulled away after the kiss, but who knows, the fact he got himself into that position is bad enough. A few days later, and struggling to cope with the mental anguish, I go back to his for more clarity to process everything. I ask to see his phone again and he hands it over. I went through the messages between him and his friends to see if I get the real picture, the things he's not comfortable telling me, and sure enough, more incriminating stuff. Messages saying how he wants to meet women on Tinder, messages saying how he had an instant spark with this woman, blah blah. Well, I got the picture and it was a completely different picture to the man I thought I knew. I can see he's absolutely gutted, he's hurt me so much, but he's also just realized how much was actually at stake. I'm absolutely devastated. I really thought we had a good future together. I told him he needs to sort himself out, get therapy, because he can't live his life like this hurting people. And for me, I just don't know what to do with myself now. Comment. I'm so sorry this has happened to you. There are dozens of stories just like yours here. It was probably more than just kissing. They'll only admit to what someone may have seen and figure you can't prove otherwise. It's called trickle truth. It sounds to me like your relationship has run its course and this might be a good time to get a fresh start. If nothing else, it sounds like an emotional affair, and that should be enough reason to let him learn from his mistakes. ETA, he's probably more gutted that you've found out rather than because he's hurt you. It sounds like he want his cake and eat it too. Is he still talking to the coworker who kissed him? Has he deleted the apps? Or done anything that proves he won't do what he did again? Honestly, I don't think you should waste any more of your time. He's acting single but wants you to be faithful. You should ask him how would he feel if you did what he did. You deserve better. This is all exactly what I said. I told him I felt like downloading Hinge again today. His face dropped. Last thing I need right now though. I think he really wants to sort himself out, there's a lot of issues there, so good, but that's for him, not me. I'm sorry you're here. I get not knowing what to do now. It all seems pointless in the moment. But this too will pass. It's not permanent. Keep moving forward with your healing, even if that healing means eating a half-gallon of ice cream. Comfort food helps, and then exercise to get those healthy endorphins flowing. You got this. He's not gutted, at least, not in the way you think. He's gutted. He now has to find a new long-term thing to supplement his short-term things. Don't ever make the mistake of thinking serial cheaters feel things the way you do. They operate from a place of complete and utter selfishness. His heart is not broken. He doesn't have one. Next story 2. Feeling guilty as hell, caught up in unintentional cheating. Don't know how to feel? Asterisk full disclosure as to confusion with title, I am a single guy who was tricked into sex with a fellow colleague/friend after she said she had broken up with her partner days before the incident. Hi all, so I'm a 28-year-old single trad person, builder, and I was caught up in a cheating incident, but at time I didn't think it was. So to put things in context, one of my fellow co-workers is a really attractive woman, a year younger, but she works as hard as any of us blokes, that's why we all get on with her. It's common knowledge to us all that she is dating another guy, not someone who works for our building company. I've met him a few times at work functions and through events with mutual friends. He's a decent guy. Now that we have the background, I'll start the explanation. Recently we had a work conference in the city. A few of us, including, we'll call her Jenna, were attending for a couple nights. Leading up to conference, I'd noticed Jenna behaving differently with me, flirty and touchy. Although I found it weird, I didn't pursue the behavior. The first night of the conference, after dinner, most of us kicked at the hotel bar for drinks. Jenna was there too, and it was all harmless good times, drinking with everything. At about 12 we all headed our ways back to our rooms. I wasn't sharing with anyone, so had my own room to myself. I stripped off for bed, keeping my underwear on, and got into bed, checking social media on my phone. I heard knocking at the door. It was Jenna and she sounded upset. I covered myself in the blanket, wearing only underwear underneath. As I opened the door, Jen apologized as she cried and hugged me tight, saying her boyfriend had been cheating on her and she was leaving him. I was shocked, and didn't know how to respond except that I was here for her. She said she had found out a few days before the conference and had broken up with him the day before. Then starting to kiss me, with her hands leading down to my underwear, and before I could assess the whole situation or say anything further, she had pulled down my underwear and proceeded to blow me. One thing led to another and I had her in my bed. We had sex that night and again that morning. At the time I felt uneasy about the whole thing and agreed that we would give each other space while she sorted out things with her separation. I've now found out she's back with her boyfriend, and by all accounts she never broke up with him and he never cheated on her. At this point I feel awful, somewhat angry, but mostly guilty. I don't know what to do. Comment. Before you tell the BF anything, make sure you get some kind of proof the encounter was consensual. A text from her or something like that. You back her into a corner and you don't know what she'll say. This is really good advice. You do need proof or you might be turned into the villain at your workspace and in her BF eyes. It sounds like only you and her know what happened, and she might just turn things around and even accuse you of SA or harassment. Please think this very well and just gather some evidence to have and prove that the encounter happened, was consensual, and that she initiated it. I am sorry I didn't want to stress you further, but you sound like a good person that just got caught in the middle of a bad situation. I know that the right thing is to tell her BF, but you need to think of yourself first and take all the necessary steps to be safe first. Also keep in mind that you did not cheat and was led on by her, so just be kind to yourself and don't put yourself down because of her bad choices. Take care of ensuring yourself and after you can let the BF know about what happened. I am usually 1000% in favor of informing someone who is/has been getting cheated on, but Jenna's little stunt was so incredibly manipulative that it should be a clear warning to be very careful with how you proceed. She is sneaky as hell. You have no texts or proof that events unfolded as you have described. Unless you can somehow have a private discussion with her about that night and get her to put into words what transpired while you secretly record the conversation, it will be her word against yours. If you tell her boyfriend with zero evidence, she can make your life hell, you could get fired, or worse, she can claim something really wild like sexual assault. Think long and hard about your next step. It may be best to keep your distance and learn a very hard lesson here. Good luck whatever you decide.